Hi, Stouffville. This is Charlene for Off the Top, our bi-weekly program here at the beautiful WhiStle radio station, 102.7 FM in gorgeous downtown Stouffville. And we are going along with our series of programs regarding a mayoral candidate and what it is, how it works. And we have again with us in the studio today, Phil Bannon. Thank you, Councillor Bannon, once again for coming in.
Charlene, I am so pleased to be here with you again. This is such a wonderful opportunity for us to discuss local issues and carry on a conversation that is relevant to the issues in this town. And the one thing I'd like to say to you is this. As a mayoralty candidate and potentially the next mayor of Stouffville, this is the kind of communication that I would like to see carried on an ongoing permanent basis, where on a weekly or bi-weekly basis we can sit down together and carry on a conversation that we're discussing all of the issues that are relevant to all of the residents in Stouffville on an ongoing basis and give them the opportunity to participate on a regular basis. That's what I consider to be clear-cut, open, transparent government.
I love that idea, and I love the idea of a phone-in show, and I love it all so much that I'll tell you this right now. You get elected, and I'll give you one of my programs every month, and you'll be over here, and we can work it out, and I'll get phone-ins, and we'll have people calling in with their questions so that you can be on the hot seat to the people of Stouffville, because I think you are the man for the job.
We're on.
All right.
What a great idea. This is how government works.
I think it is the way government needs to work. Yeah. And of course, we were just discussing how some of the governments south of us and around us don't particularly work that way. But let us go on to more local issues today and not waste any time with those others.
And you know what? There's a couple of real good news issues that if I can just sort of bring you up to speed on. I'm not sure of how many people in town were aware of it, but if you weren't aware of it, you must have been. If you weren't aware of it, you were out of town. The Rib Fest. Yes. It was our second annual Rib Fest. What a tremendous event that was. It attracted tens of thousands of people, all the young families that were down there. I was down there with my family and grandkids, and everybody had such a great time. The food was good. The weather was outstanding. On Sunday, we had the car show, the car antique classic car show at the museum. What a tremendous success that was as well. So I sit back and just another wonderful weekend in Stouffville. A couple of issues I'd like to bring up with you.
Yes.
That are relevant to you and your community. We have the new Coultice Park, which is being cleared out as we speak. All of the old buildings and outhouses and such on the property have been cleared, and we're preparing the property for the park, which I will be arranging for public meetings in the near future. We'll have public meetings, design work next year, and we'll start the building of the park hopefully at the end of 15, early 16.
I am totally excited. So hang on to your next thought. I want to jump in here. I did a lot of horseback riding, as those of you who have been listening to the program have heard me mention, in dialogue with Councillor Bannon here. I did a lot of horseback riding on that land. I mean, a lot. And it is a beautiful piece of property. I know the Coultice family a little bit. They've reached into the community quite deeply. And I am so delighted that land is going to be a public property and hooked into the Rouge Valley, I believe. Is that the bigger picture, to try to have a walking way so that there's acres and acres, if not miles and miles of walking?
I would like to see connectivity as we see the Rouge Park, as we hear about the building of this new Rouge Park National Park coming up from the East End. I'd like to see that connected to Stouffville, and I'd like to see the Stouffville Pass and bike paths and walkways connected to Ballantrae into our community, and somehow connect that to the pass and bike paths and horse paths running across the region, the regional pass.
Certainly, Vivian Park is a great place.
I mean, just think of what this presents for all the residents here. You can actually get out there and go for go for a 3, 4, 5 hour walk and all around our municipality. Go for
Exactly.
a bike ride your horses, take your dogs for a walk. We're going to have a 4.5 acre park in Ballantrae or in Musselman's Lake. We're going to have
Exciting.
135 acres of just conservation land with the pathways and bike paths and walking paths. And it's
That
just,
is so incredibly important. I'm going to say it again. 135 acres has been satisfied, has been put aside, has been kept pristine in its natural state. It will not be developed. It will not be put into condominiums or who has got the biggest amount of money to get the biggest amount of money out of it. It won't be slammed and exploited that way. It'll be kept pristine for everyone, because when we have patches of land like that, we have clean air, we have cleaner water, and I believe as a psychotherapist, we have healthier mind states.
and it's incredible. As you say, we've saved 135 acres from
Amazing.
development.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. And you look at the some of the development we have on Highway 48 with the geranium site there. We've dedicated over 35 acres of conservation land there to the Conservation Authority as well. And I think there's another 20 acres being dedicated just south of that. So you
did
look
not
at
know
the
that, but
land
that's
that we're
fabulous.
saving from development, even though we are developing.
Exactly.
So it's an incredible bonus for this community and for the province in general. It's just great.
Exactly. And there has to be the realism. As a former hippie, I have to say, it's as painful as it is to come out and say, well, yes, we have to have development, but people have to live.
Yeah.
It's a question of being realistic about it. And then again, as you've always been the person who has spearheaded having the local people, having the residents association, having the local governments, having as many levels of government involved as possible in order to represent as many people as possible. And therefore we have, as we've just cited, close to 200 acres, prime land, wetland. It's the Oak Ridges Moraine. It's sitting right around the jewel of Musselman Lake, and it's not going to be touched. It's been saved from the developers. And boy, I think that's terrific.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And a couple of public announcements.
Yes.
We had one of our residents on Lakeshore was concerned about the speed of vehicles traveling on Lakeshore Boulevard. So I've asked the town staff to go out and review the area, and we're going to install some new signs, some slow vehicle signs, slow driving signs,
Right.
children at play signs, and we're going to reemphasize the fact, you know how we put those slow driving signs on the road. We're painting them in. We're going to do
Yes.
that again as well. So
Good.
we're going to try and slow down traffic. So I'm asking the residents of the community to slow down and take caution when they're driving through the community, because we do have people walking on the streets as we don't have sidewalks. So be careful, watch out for kids playing, and let's all live together and make life easy for all ourselves.
And as I've heard you say on other times, that as a policeman, excuse me, that that former policeman, that it is the locals. And I can testify, as my husband got a speeding ticket for zooming up that lane too fast on the 9th line. But the idea is that, it's our community. We have to protect it, and that means we all have to slow down.
Yeah.
We all have to slow down. So those are great. Those are great public service announcements.
And we've got another one. As you know, we've got a brand new restaurant up at Cedar Beach.
Yes, Fishbone on the lake.
What a tremendous asset that
It's
is to our
terrific.
community. It's jam packed every day.
Yes.
It's fantastic, and we're drawing people in from all around the region,
Terrific.
and it's tremendous. So another public announcement: I'm asking people just to watch out for the parking. They're parking illegally on Cedarville. We have no parking areas on the south side of Cedarville. There is free parking available in the Cedar Beach large parking lot on the north side and behind
Got it.
George's restaurant.
Right.
So I ask everybody to park off the street in the parking lot, because we've had complaints, and I was speaking with Bylaw today, and they were going to start tagging in the area, and I've asked them to hold off on that. I spoke with Kyle Jenkins today and Pedro, the owner of the restaurant, and we're going to try and get some more signs up there so people are aware of the no parking
Good.
areas. And you know what? There's no need for us to jump into a situation here that creates a problem. There is parking, lots of parking available. It's free parking. So just beware of the no parking areas up there, and everybody will be happy.
Come on out to the Fishbone on the lake, and when you get up there, make a right onto the Cedar Beach parking. It's cement parking. You can't miss it. It's a big parking lot behind George's Candy and Ice Cream Shop. have a little stop at George's and get yourself a pre-dinner treat, and then pop across to the Fishbone on the lake.
By the way, it's the best ice cream in town.
It is. It is. So those are great public service announcements, Phil. And last time that you were here, Councillor Bannon, I should be calling you Councillor Bannon, the last time that you were here, we talked extensively about transportation and transit in the community, and how, for example, with Musselman Lake, your plans are to bring in bus service, extensive bus service around, so that the people of our community of Stouffville can get to Newmarket, Aurora, various areas. And then we have a few other items on tap for today. We have economic development. Now, Councillor Bannon, if you are elected mayor, what will you do for economic development in Stouffville?
We people are very, very happy. I've been knocking on doors now for about 5 weeks. We've knocked on over 3,500 doors.
Congratulations.
And we've talked to about 1,700 people.
Yes.
So I sit back, and we're at about a 50% ratio now of knocking on doors and people who are home. So it's great. So I'm finding out what people really feel for the town and what they need and what they want. And they're very interested and they're very concerned about infrastructure. They're very concerned about leisure services facilities, transit, as we've already spoken about. And I'm going to look after that transit issue to make sure that we do have improved transit, that we do have shelters at transit stops, and we expand it into the residential areas that make it more available to the kids to get to the park, to get to facilities, and for parents and those who have to get to the GO train. But economic development is a priority. When I was elected in 2003, the tax base in this town was based on a 92% residential tax base.
Holy mackerel.
That means that 92% of the money derived through taxes came from a residential tax base.
That's right.
So over 11 years on council, that number has been reduced to somewhere in the area of 89 to 90%. That, to me, is not enough.
All right.
That is not enough.
Because what we're seeing with that, of course, for people like me who need that translated into language, it means that the average citizens who are the homeowners are carrying the burden of 89 to 90% of the taxes that are being taken. And that is not fair compared to the businesses that should be contributing a fairer share.
Yeah, that's exactly what the problem is here. So we've got to develop our employment lands wisely. We've got to make sure that we're bringing in industry that is going to employ people locally. We want to provide jobs for people locally, and we've got to be careful of what we relocate and what we locate on our employment lands. We've got to be very, very careful of that. And our employment lands are on Hoover Park right now, and they're getting developed. And I think that we should look in a different direction as to what we are going to okay in that area.
Yes.
For me, we have a corridor of development that is primed and ready to go, and that's the 404 corridor out at Stouffville Side Road at the Woodbine area. We have developers who own all sorts of property out there. They're primed and ready to go, but they don't have services. We sat down and we had a meeting with the developers about 7 years ago, 7 years ago, and what they said they needed to move forward was services. They need water and sanitary services. That's something that I'm going to take on as a major task, to sit back and say, as a representative of Stouffville, the mayor is the economic development officer. What we've had in the past is Mayor Emerson has done a great job.
Yes.
Bless his heart, a great job. But we have an economic development officer, and we also have a CAO who go out and knock on doors, and they do a very good job. But when I talk to business owners, as I'm knocking on doors, and when I talk to business owners at their businesses, what they're saying to me is they want to see the mayor. A mayor walks into their office and says, what can I do to attract you to come to Stouffville, to locate to Stouffville?
Right.
That's the message that I want to get out there, that I will be knocking on doors. I will be the economic development officer. That will be under my umbrella in my administration. I will be responsible for that. I will be knocking on doors, attracting business to this community. I will be visiting businesses in Stouffville on a monthly basis. I will highlight a business every month. I will market that business. I will promote that business. I will visit that business. And what you'll see is the mayor and members of council promoting a business, welcoming people to come out and spend some time, coffee, tea, me, cookies, whatever it is, for a couple of hours, and meet us and advertise and promote the business, and perhaps the business will offer some sort of discount deal for the month as we feature a business every month in this town.
I love what you're saying, and I love it particularly because you keep saying that personal word, I. You're going to take responsibility for that. We're just going to take a quick commercial break, Councillor Bannon, and we'll be right back, so don't lose the passion of the vision. Folks, stay tuned. This is Charlene for Off the Top at WhiStle Radio 102.7 FM.